Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. The number one player in the class of 2025 is, of course, AJ Dybantsa. So AJ Dybantsa just finished playing for this incredible Team USA U17 team. Okay, if you didn't see this team, everybody's freaking out about the state of basketball in the United States at this moment in time, okay? Team USA basketball goes to the U17 championships with AJ Dybantsa, Cameron Boozer, Carlos Boozer's son, Caleb Holt, great player in 2026, Brandon McCoy, great player in 2026, on and on. I'm missing a couple guys. Koa Pete, who's from Arizona. They won that tournament by, if I read it correctly, an average of 64 points per game. Okay, so USA basketball is in great shape, and AJ Dybantsa, to me right now, is the face of everybody that isn't in college, guys like Cooper Flagg. Well, I bring it up because as good as he's been, there really haven't been very many tangible recruiting updates as far as where he's interested in, where he's going, all of that. Last year, he took a visit to USC, but remember, USC staff has changed over just in the last few months. Andy Enfield out, Eric Musselman in, and so I don't know that Andy Enfield and his staff at SMU are going to be able to close the deal. Also, Dybantsa visited producer Matt's alma mater in Auburn, but I bring it up because it's very quiet. Producer Matt, by the way, behind the scenes shaking his head as if he went to the biggest basketball power in the world. Pretty sure producer Matt couldn't give away tickets when he was there. Neither here nor there. All right, so let's go ahead and get into Dybantsa because he's going into his senior year. He is a highly coveted player, and everybody's trying to figure out, like, where is this guy going to go? Well, on, I guess it was Wednesday, he sat down with Kristen Peak. Now, it may have been before, but I saw the video kind of circulating on social media. He had some interesting things to say about his recruitment. Here is the video of him with Kristen Peak.
And what's important to you?
My dad, I have no college coaches' numbers.
Okay.
My dad talks to all the coaches. If they want to talk to me, he'll ring me onto a call. But that barely happens. So when around Peach Jam, right after Peach Jam, I'll talk to coaches like through his phone, and then we'll narrow it down to probably like 8 around there.
That's when you want to narrow it down, is after Peach Jam?
Yeah.
And then are you going to take any visits this fall?
Then that would be the visits will be in the fall, September, October-ish.
Any schools you want to get to, do you think?
I mean, not really, because I don't really talk to the coaches, so I don't know what they have to offer. And I mean, I can watch them on TV all the time, but like you got to hear them speak and like what I would fit in their play style.
Yeah. And your dad, does he talk about the possibility of going to play overseas at all?
Oh, no, I'm going to college.
Okay. All right. Shut that down.
So there you have it. AJ Dybantsa talking to Kristen Peak. First of all, the thing that stands out, a couple things stand out. One, there is the conversation about the dad. Now, let me, because when I was talking to producer Matt about this before the show, let me defend the dad a little bit, because I think you hear that and people are going to assume, oh my God, it's LeVar Ball 2.0 or it's this or that. Listen, AJ Dybantsa's dad, by all accounts, listen, let me even backtrack. He's a cop, okay? And he's not only a cop, he's a cop in Brockton, Massachusetts. That's where the family's from. And so if you know anything about Brockton, tough, hard scrabble, that's where Marvin Hagler is from. That's where Rocky Marciano is from. The high school team, their nickname is the Boxers, okay? So if you're a cop in there, you're a no-nonsense guy. And so I'm going to defend the Dybantsa family because I saw a lot of commentary about the comments about his dad. The dad, to me, my understanding is great dad, very involved. And he's basically told AJ, let me handle everything off the court. You focus on basketball. So it's not a big deal that he hasn't talked to a ton of college coaches right now. But what I do think is interesting about this is that it feels like the recruitment is very, very, very wide open. As I said, took an unofficial to USC, took an unofficial to Auburn. He did take an unofficial, by the way, to BYU. But it feels like it's wide open. He's going to cut down his list. And if you're one of those schools that's in the mix, you got to feel kind of good that if your coach presents things the right way, if your coach is able to sell the program the right way, the developmental program the right way, that you could realistically have a shot with this kid. Now, because I know how all this works, and because I know all of you are going to ask, I think it's naive of anyone to say that there are leaders or there are people that are definitively going to be in the mix. I don't think we're at that point. But since I know you guys and girls are going to ask, do you think there are 3 schools? Like if he's going to cut his list here to 8 in the coming weeks. By the way, Peach Jam is this weekend. Posted it on social media, but I went down to USC practice on whatever it was, Wednesday morning. The whole staff was headed down to Peach Jam this week. So Peach Jam's coming. He's going to cut his list. I'm rambling. I'm not going in any direction. Let me get back on track. But what I do think is that if we're talking about schools that are realistic for him, there are 3 to me that I feel pretty confident in saying I feel pretty good that they are going to make a final cut for AJ Dybantsa. What are the 3 schools? Couple stand out. One, listen, you can love them or you can hate them. I think Duke's going to make the cut. Duke is always in the mix for all of these elite guys. We can criticize. It's not Coach K. It's not the same. John Shire isn't the same. What the heck happened with Kyle Filipowski? Something we probably should have talked about on this show, but we never did. But at the same time, Duke is still a mega brand. They develop their pros. Jason Tatum's maybe the best player in the world right now, or he's the best player on the team that just won the championship. And I also think it's worth noting, like it hasn't slowed down in the post Coach K world. And beyond that, a couple other things stand out. One, I think we feel pretty good that the Boozer twins are going there, Cameron and also Caden Boozer. And AJ Dybantsa just proved that he could play with them. So I don't think that's a factor at all. But the one thing I will say, and I do think this is interesting, and I do think it goes back to the segment that we just had half a second ago. That's this, is that Cooper Flagg is going to be on campus this year. And so if Dybantsa is making his visits post Peach Jam, probably in the fall when everyone's back on campus for football games, he's going to be making those visits right as the Cooper Flagg hysteria starts. And so if you're Duke and you are showing the world that you are profiling this number 1 player in America, you are giving him a huge stage. Everybody cares about Duke basketball. He is the biggest story, he being Cooper Flagg. You're going to be able to sell, hey, you come here, we're going to be able to do the same thing for you next year. Now, again, a little bit complicated with the Boozer twins. Cameron Boozer is probably the number 2 player in America. I think in most years, Cameron Boozer would be the number 1 player in the country. But I just bring it up because I do think Duke is one of the schools that's going to be in the mix. Beyond that, I'll say this, another one. You can love them, you can hate them. I feel pretty confident that Arkansas is going to be in the mix as well, because the bottom line is, listen, you can love Cal, you can hate him. Every time I say something positive, people yell at me, whatever, I don't care. But the one thing you can't deny, that dude prepares kids for the pros. You can sit here and tell me, oh, what about this guy? What about that guy? Reed Sheppard. Everyone told me all year how he was completely misused. Ended up as the number 3 pick in the draft. What else do you want? Rob Dillingham, top 10 pick. Cal did his job. And you go through the list of all these guys that he's put in the pros, all the money they've made. Cal is still using that. My guys have made billions of dollars with a beeline. I heard him say it the other day on McAfee. It's like, Emmanuel Quickly just signed a huge extension. Tyrese Maxey just signed a huge extension. Malik Monk just signed a huge extension. So all those guys are making more money. And even if the tournament results haven't been what his previous school expected, it doesn't change the fact that he develops pros really well. I think it's also worth noting, he's another one. His brand is going to be on full display this summer and the fall. Why the summer? He's got 3 guys on Team USA. Anthony Davis, Bam Adebayo, Devin Booker. Also got 3 guys on Team Canada, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jamal Murray, Trey Lyles. Now, I know when I say that, oh, well, what did he do with them? It's like, that's not the conversation. First of all, Anthony Davis won a championship. A bunch of the other guys made a Final Four. A bunch of the other guys made an Elite 8. But I just bring it up because this is his reputation. It's what he does. He has the previous relationship. And I feel pretty good that Arkansas is going to be in the mix. The last team that I would feel pretty good if I was a fan of that school, and it just so happens that I am, it's the UConn Huskies. Because, listen, with UConn, we've talked about it. We've done like 8 UConn segments in the last 2 weeks. We did the offseason grade. We did the Hurley extension. We did whatever. But this program is operating at just such a high level right now. And a couple of things about where UConn is. One, as we've discussed, I think any kid that's serious about basketball has to consider UConn. Because what is the knock on UConn? You're winning at the highest level, but you're also being prepared for the pros. Can't say you're not being prepared for the pros. They just had 4 kids drafted. By the way, every time I look up, Cam Spencer has another 19-point game in Summer League playing for the Memphis Grizzlies. We're going to talk about one of his teammates in a minute. Steph Castle's playing really well. And so you look at UConn, they're developing the crap out of everybody. They're winning at the highest level. And also, the Northeast ties, in my opinion, do matter. I don't think it's huge because Dybantsa obviously played at Prolific Prep last year up in the Bay Area. He's going to a school in Utah this next year. So I don't think that's a be-all, end-all. But he's from the Northeast. As I said, his dad is a cop. He's a no-nonsense guy. You know who else is no-nonsense? Dan Hurley. And as AJ Dybantsa said in that video, you can watch guys on TV, but when you meet him in person, how will you not be impressed by Dan Hurley, especially if you're a player who enjoys hard coaching and who plays with the intensity of AJ Dybantsa? I'll say this. I watched some of that U17 stuff over the last couple weeks. Not a ton, because again, they were winning games by an average of 64 points. But you watch Dybantsa, man, he plays with a chip on his shoulder. He plays with an edge. He plays with an anger. And he is a guy that, in my opinion, I just think he's perfect for that Dan Hurley program because he has that East Coast tough, no-nonsense approach. So we'll get some information on this recruitment in the coming weeks. And as we do, we will keep you updated. I don't think there's much else to add right now. But he said, I'm going to cut it to 8 right after Peach Jam. Well, Peach Jam is this week into next week. So expect some moves soon.